to this social media planning workshop. This is Natchi Lazarus. I thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us for this workshop. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I am super excited today as we talk about this very important topic as we enter into one of the most important seasons in digital. Last week I was at a conference and I was talking about the why 2020. People said, okay, Natchi, you're doing these workshops, you're talking about the church, social media, you're talking about ministries and nonprofits and the body of Christ preparing for the year 2020. Why 2020? What's all the big deal about it? Is just the number? Is it like just because there is 20 and 20 and it looks nice? Are you, telling us that it's an important year? No, my friend, listen carefully. I mean, this is a season. This is a very interesting and new season that we are in the middle of. I'm not saying 2020 is a unique year and there's nothing, like it. All I'm saying is 2020 happens to fall in the middle of this very interesting digital and social media season. I'll tell you why. You know how old Facebook is? We all think Facebook is is a tech thing, and or we say Google is a tech thing that we are still figuring out. They are still evolving. Do you know how old Facebook is? 15 years old. And I was asking the audience, all of us are excited about Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi, you're connecting to a Wi-Fi signal and everything. Do you know how old Wi-Fi technology is? It's almost 30 years old. So I just showed them, the various technologies, how they've evolved. Almost every technology you can think of is more than 10 years old. So this is not like a young 2 to 3 year technology bubble. So social media and digital media are not just something that is just exciting and, it is just a bubble that's waiting to burst. No. This is a solid industry. It has been there for more than 10. Most players have been here for more than 10, 15 years. Things have settled down. Of course, it's still evolving. Of course, we are having the TikToks of the world coming in and new things are happening. But as an industry, this is settled down. And 2020 is falling right at the middle of the season where where things are mature, and social media as an industry is being regulated by the government. People are looking at the influence that it is creating. Nobody is really opposing the idea that social media is an influential platform. All they're saying is, how can we regulate it? So my point is this: as we get started, I am so excited that we are doing this, because as we enter 2020, it's going to be a year of influence using social media. And I'm excited that you are here because you have an important message. All of you, through your organizations, through your ministries, through your own personal life, there is so much that we as a body of Christ can share with the world using this incredible platform called social media. So it's important for us to plan. It's important for us to have a strategy document. So let's get started. Before even I say anything, I want to congratulate you. And you may say, Natchi, why are you congratulating me? We haven't even started the workshop. Well, I have a good reason to congratulate you. And I actually have a statistical reason and a research-based reason to congratulate you, because you have taken a step that people in 56% of organizations worldwide have not yet taken. What do I mean? I'll tell you in a minute. This is based on my report that I found online recently in October. It's called the Global NGO Technology Report 2019. I highly recommend you check it out. Excuse me. It's a report produced by an organization called Nonprofit Tech for Good. Now, there are reports on the internet, and there are really good reports on the internet, right? Some reports have like 100 people responding in a small group and things like that. Now, this is not one of those reports. This is a really global report. When they say global, they mean it, because this was polled by organizations in 160 plus countries and 5,500 plus, I think it's 5,700 or something, NGOs and nonprofits polled this survey. So this is like a serious survey, right? 5,700 organizations. Okay, this is including NGOs, nonprofits, and probably ministries like you. So out of 160 countries. And here is what they found. I'm going to quote this report in a couple of our conversations today. One is they found a very interesting statistics. Only 44% of NGOs worldwide have a written social media strategy. Okay, this is just, it's a screenshot from the report. I mean, only 44% have a report. Imagine that. So what are the rest 56% doing? So they have not even prepared themselves. That is why I told you, you are doing something that 56% of people in worldwide nonprofits and NGOs are not doing. So you can congratulate yourself. I will come back to that report with a lot of interesting findings as we go along. But let's get started with this, right? Now, the primary goal of this workshop, because I want all of us to be on the same page with respect to what we are expecting out of this, because it's a precious 60 minutes or 75 minutes you're going to spend with me. So I want to make sure that you get as much value as possible. So what we're going to do here is we are going to equip you to create a plan and strategy document for 2020. Now, that is my ultimate goal, because even as I envisioned this online workshop, it all revolved around this word document. So you will hear me talk a lot about document, because there are two approaches to planning, right? The one is to say, I've got a plan. What's your plan? Many people pull out their, say, an Excel sheet, or they pull out their paper, or most people have their plan on the whiteboard. Now, that's great. Now, what happens is, all of these things we plan in November, December, or some of us even in early January. And then what happens if I ask you in June 2020, what happened to your plan? You would, most of them, this is what they say, because I've been in this business for 10, 12 years, more than 12 years with just faith-based organizations, more than 15 years, almost 18 years in the marketing industry. And when I do sit with clients and ask them, what happened to your plan? They would say, oh, it's there, it was there, but I don't even refer to it anymore. So that is why, that's how I started thinking about it. And I said, what we need, and I've seen most organizations who really succeed are the ones that have a document in place. That is why I'm going to keep talking about this word called document throughout our session today. So my goal for this workshop is to help you create a plan and a strategy document. And the way I see it is, this is the session. This is 1 hour or 1 hour, 15 minutes that you will spend with me before you sit with your team. Or if you're a one-man show, you will, before you sit on your planning session, which will be definitely more than 1 hour, right? You probably want to take a day off or 1 hour. I know people who take a couple of days off. They actually go away from their office or their workplace. They actually, spend some time, almost like a vacation, but it's like a planning vacation. So they take time. I highly recommend you do that, because if you get away from your regular surrounding, it gives you a different perspective. And if you want to pray, you can ask God to guide you. You have a quiet surrounding where you can hear God in terms of what you need to do. Well, we just did that. Me, my wife, my business partner, she's also my business strategist. She's the greatest critique I have. She's amazing. I mean, she will tell you things on your face, and she's very straightforward. She's wonderful. And so I always plan with her. It's a very difficult time because we argue a lot, and we talk about why I'm doing this and so on. And she would criticize every single decision I make. But that is, guess what? That's exactly what you need. So take a friend with you, take a well-wisher, take someone who's mentoring you, or someone, and then sit and do your planning for 2020. And this session, this 1 hour, is basically a guide for you to do that. Because what we're going to do is this, my friend. What we're going to do is, I'm going to teach you the approach. I'm going to talk to you about how you need to approach digital and social media planning. All of you are experts at planning. You're all, I see all your profiles. I saw all your profiles, whoever has registered. All of you are experts. You're already running big things in your life, and you're all leaders. All you need is a little bit of help with respect to digital and social media. I don't even tell you how to run your operations. You are an expert at that. I'm only going to talk about digital and social media planning and strategy. So I will give you the approach. I will tell you what you need to know before you start creating your plan and strategy document. So take away some time off of everything, sit down, use the download document that I'm going to give you, use that as a guide, and then pray and allow God to lead you as you go through planning. So that is how I see this really fitting into your entire planning schedule. All right. And then by the end of this session, this is what I envision you will have: the essential foundational knowledge, a reference checklist document, which you can download as a PDF. And to all of this will help you document your digital and social media plan for the coming new year. So that is what we are going to do. Now, I need your commitment with 3 things, okay? Because this is not about me. I can spend this time with you, but ultimately I need you to work on certain things. First is, we are going to talk about 3 action items in this session. Okay, I would like you to commit to yourself that you will work on those 3 action items, because I've really thought through this, believe me, before I came up with these action items, because these 3 action items are essential for you to get clarity before you move on. This is what runs social media, these 3 action points. So I'll tell you what those are. Don't worry about it. But commit that you will work on those action items, not just listen to it and move on. Second is use them as a guide for your discussions. Like I told you, in your time off, when you're planning, use this as a guide. And number 3 commitment that I need from you is setting aside time to work on. Like I told you, set aside time away from home, away from office, and really work on creating this document. Again, I come to this word document. So we are going to, this idea is this, we are going to talk about this one document that you will have that will act as your roadmap. So you will have one planning document. Now that could be an online document like a Google Doc, or it can be something that you can go and verify. But that is the document that we are trying to create at the end of this session. Okay, I'll talk more about that as we go along. But these are the 3 commitments that I need from you. Now I'm going to ask you to do something that might be uncomfortable for some of you, but I'm going to ask you to declare something, because I believe in the power of confession. So I know some of you may be at home, some of you listening on the headphone, you can't say something aloud. I totally understand. So if you can't do it aloud, that's fine, but still you whisper it without making noise, but you say it, because faith comes by hearing. It's important for us to hear our own words, not just hearing the word of God, but also hearing your own words, because that is important for you to take a decision. Because I tell you, I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this in a moment. I'm going to show you statistics of 2020, which will blow your mind away. So just trust me and say this. We're going to say this a couple of times as we go along. I am not getting into 2020 without a plan and a strategy document. Please say this with me, okay? So thank you for saying that. Thank you for whispering that, or whatever you were able to do in your situation. I really, really appreciate that, because I'm telling you, you will appreciate this as we end this session, that having this document will make all the difference. I want you to enter 2020 with confidence. I want you to enter 2020 with a solid plan and say, this is what I'm going to do for the kingdom of God. And this is how I'm going to impact lives. This is how I'm going to change the way I work. This is how I'm going to change my business, or whatever else that God has called you to do. You can do it with a proper plan and a strategy, because without a plan and a strategy, it's going to be difficult. I'll show you why. Now, no distractions, a little bit of housekeeping. Please silence your phone if you have to, because this is an important time. And also any audio or anything that's going on. If there are people at home, please tell them, please give me this a few minutes. I need to focus on this. All right. Thank you. And if you have a dog, please take care of him or her, feed them or whatever, and keep them comfortable while you do that. If you want to keep them inside the room, you know what, because I'm a dog lover, I'm going to take an exception there. So maybe dogs are allowed because this is my session. I set the rules. Okay, so you can have your dog, because sometimes dogs can be cuddly, they can give you comfort, so you want to keep them right on your lap as you listen to this or work on this. That'll be awesome. But if you want to take some notes, feel free to do that. I'm going to give you the 15 point document, but I'm also going to give you a lot of tips. So those tips, if you want to take notes, you could, right? So go ahead and do that. Feel free to do that. All right, so just want to give you a peek of the downloadable document, which I'm going to give you at the end. I'll tell you how you will get that. This is the document, nicely designed by my team. It's a social media planning document for 2020. It's a 15-point checklist. We will talk through some of the points, and this is how the inside of the document is going to look like. You've got some checklist. You've got a little box where you can write down your thoughts. You can print it out. It's a PDF. You can use it online, or you can also print it out, put it right, because some of us like to write. I still like to write a lot. So I generally print out these worksheets. I put it in front of them and I kind of scribble all over them. So I still got one that I did last year. So you could totally do that. And today we're going to go through some of these points. Okay, not all of them, but some of them, because in this workshop, I want to focus on what I bring, because based on my experience, because this is not just about running through 15 points, in a presentation, but I want to bring my experience to you, and I want to show you how I have used it, some of the tips that I can give you, which may or may not be in the document. So I'm going to give you some expert tips, or pro tips, as you can call it. So I've been 18 plus years in marketing advertising. I work with different types of people. I'm the author of the Connected Church book. Probably some of you have read the book and you know about the book, and maybe that's why you're attending. I see some of you who I know have the book and have have reached out to me, appreciating me. Thank you so much for that. And I'm a blogger, podcast host, and consultant. I practice what I preach. I totally believe in the power of the digital and social media, and I like to do things excellently. And I'm trying to do all these to help the church and ministries worldwide. And I'm an online educator. I've got courses, I've got workshops. I speak in events. We have a fantastic lineup of events in 2020 all over the world. And I'm a co-founder of Digital Agency. We have a company that helps churches, ministries, nonprofits, startups, and faith-based ventures. So we've been doing this in the faith-based space for more than 12 years now. Can't believe it. When we started out, people didn't even understand what digital was. My mom said, when I said I'm in the digital marketing space, she said, "Oh, is that like printing out digital banners?" That kind of thing. So people didn't even understand what we were doing, but that is who we are. And this is the book. It's available on Amazon, and feel free to get that. You can check out The Connected Church in Amazon stores worldwide. There's paperback, there's Kindle. All right, that's enough about me. Let's get into the topic. So first, I want to show you a few top trends. The reason I'm going on and on about 2020, okay? Look at these numbers. You will realize why I'm so excited. 2020 is really going to be a year of social media influence. This is latest numbers. This is from October 2019, which is like last month. And here is the number. So the total population of the world is 7.734 billion. And this is the number I want you to focus on, okay? Active social media users, 3.7 billion people. I'm going to pause there for a minute. I mean, 3.7 billion people around the world out of 7.7 billion. That's like almost 48% of the world are on social media. Active. Note the word active, my friend. This is not just social media users who don't use it anymore. This is active social media users. So tell me this. When has there been a time in the history of the church, of the body of Christ, when we've had 3.7 billion people sitting in one place? Like, can you imagine an auditorium with 3.7 billion people? That's literally what social media is. This is the stuff that keeps me awake at night. I'm so excited. I can't sleep. It's like, wow, what an opportunity you and me have to touch people's lives, right? 3.7 billion people. I mean, Paul and Peter and John would have given anything to have this. I mean, imagine Paul having an opportunity to reach out 3.7 billion people. I'm sure he would have posted every single minute of the day talking about the gospel or whatever God has called each of us to do. Each of us have a calling, but we've got an audience today, okay? And look at this mobile, okay? 3.6 billion people are on mobile. Now, last time I looked, it was only 45 and 46, and now it's just January 2019 to October, I have seen this number grow. If you joined my webinar last time, you would have seen a different number because I just updated it right before our webinar. This is the latest number. And even between the last webinar and this, there is some growth. All right. And the second reason I'm excited about 2020 is it's a year of social media growth, not just influence, but it's also growth. Okay. In terms of growth, look at these numbers. Okay. This is the annual digital growth around the world, and active social media users are growing at 9.6% around the world. So just from October 18 to 19, we've had 328 million new users. Listen, new users, 328 million people have joined social media between October 2018 and 19. And out of that, 15% growth on mobile. Mobile is growing at a crazy rate, right? So mobile social media. So people are all the time checking this stuff. We say we don't, some people, because we hear some of us, in our circle saying, oh, I'm not using Facebook anymore. One person told me, Natchi, I don't use Facebook anymore. I said, so what do you use? He said, I use WhatsApp. I said, okay, so that means you're using Facebook because WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, And someone said, oh, I don't use Facebook anymore, but I use Instagram. I said, okay, welcome to Facebook because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So what I'm saying is we are using social media in some form or the other, either it's private messaging or in some form, but we are all social. We're on the mobile, we're using social media in some form. And therefore, it's an opportunity for you and me to reach these people. That is why planning for 2020, being ready for 2020 social media is very crucial. Number 3, and the final reason is it's a year filled with digital media opportunities. I mean, the time that people spend on social media and online, just consuming content on the internet is mind-blowing. Look at this. 91% of the people who use internet watch online videos. If you can create videos, I mean, you don't have to be on the video. Some of us are not comfortable with video. That's fine. But you can create videos, not with you, with not you not being in it. You can do it with text. You can do it with your books. There are many ways, innovative, creative ways to do videos. And if you do that, you've got the opportunity to reach people on the internet. 91% of the people spend time watching internet, and 40% of the internet users listen to podcasts. Podcasts are just audio, and they're so easy. When I started my podcast, I was overwhelmed. I still am new. I just started my podcast, and I still don't have a big audience. But guess what? When I started, I realized how easy it is to get on podcasts. It is like the easiest thing you can do. And yet 40% of the world internet users are on podcasts. So we've got an incredible opportunity to reach people. That's all I want to say. But there is one thing about social media that is a big blessing and a big challenge. I want to talk to you about that, because this is very relevant to what we're discussing today, and it's planning. And to do that, I'm going to go back to the technology report. Well, we saw that social media is big. Many people are using it. It's all exciting. And this report actually confirms that. It says 90% of NGOs worldwide regularly use social media to engage their supporters and donors. That's great, right? Now, we say social media is so big. And guess what? NGOs know that. Nonprofits know that. Ministries seems to know that, because 94% agree that social media is effective for online brand awareness. So no problem. We all understand whatever I told you. Now, 80% of the Facebook users have 84% of NGOs use Facebook and have an average of 20,000 followers. And 97% have a Facebook page. I told you, this is from 160 countries, more than 5,500 respondents of NGOs. 97% have a Facebook page. In fact, the report interestingly says some people have Facebook page, but they don't have a website. They have more Facebook pages than a website in terms of total people. So what I'm saying is, as NGOs, nonprofits, ministries, we absolutely understand that this is important. Yet, I come back to my original statistics. Okay, 94% have a Facebook page, but only how many people have a social media strategy? 44%. There you go. I rest my case. Like, really, 94% have a Facebook page and they're doing something. 90% are active. 84% do this, but only 44 have a written social media strategy. Now, what does that mean? That means the rest of them are just on social media without a plan. No written social media strategy. Now, can you imagine anyone doing this with any type of media? Like, would you book a television station and would you pay like money to put an ad on television? And then when the television says, okay, what do you want to, where's your ad? And would you say, I don't know, I don't have a plan, let's just create an ad? Would you ever say that? Or if you book a print ad on a newspaper or a magazine, and the guy asks you, give me the image for the advertisement, would you say, I don't have a plan? Never, right? But why do we do this with social media? I don't understand. And this is like bigger media, much more influential, much more personal. People look at it on their mobile phone. You're reaching the audience one-on-one. What an incredible opportunity. And yet ministries, NGOs, nonprofits worldwide do not have a written social media strategy. Now, this is what made me put this a workshop together. So this has got to change. So, but why are they doing this? Here is the blessing problem that I talked to you about. There's one big reason. It's the ease of getting started. The reason that people get started and people don't have a plan and just get started is because it's easy. Social media is easy. Getting on TV is not easy. Putting a print ad is not easy, but social media is easy, my friend. That is why we all get started. That we fall into that trap. I do not like to see any ministries fall into that trap anymore. Because what do you need to do to get on social media? Well, click a picture, post it on Facebook, boom, you're on social media. My ministry is on social media. Yeah, exactly. So when I talk to church leaders and I tell them, look, you got to get on social media, they tell me, oh, I'm already on social media. And then I'm like, okay, let's look at your social media. And I go there. That's a picture of a congregation. Everybody's shouting. There is a picture of him in the video, or there's a video of live stream or something like that. And he's like, see, we are on social media. And I'm like, okay, let's go back to the analytics. Now let's look at how many people you're reaching. How many people are talking back to you? What about the funnel? How many people are coming back and telling you, I want to know more about Jesus. I want to know more about what you're doing. Let's talk about how many people are doing that. Well, we don't know. Oh, we never thought of that. Exactly. So social media is easy to get started, and that is a trap. Okay, so what I'm saying is, get started. Nothing wrong with that. You're on it. At least you're on it. Now it's time for the church. Like I told you, this is a season of maturity. This is a season where the industry is settling down. So even if you're listening to me and you're saying, oh, that is me, I just got started, I didn't even plan, don't worry, my friend. You are here and you have made the right decision, because without a written plan and a strategy, people are getting lost, but not you. Okay, because you are here, I appreciate you, and we are going to change this. Okay, because without a plan and a strategy, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of resources, a waste of money, ad budgets. You know how many NGOs have so much ad budgets, and without a plan, now that is not good stewardship. Right? You need to have a plan. God has given you money. Even if you are funding grants or whatever else is helping you, do not move forward without a plan. Just because you get a grant, don't move forward without a plan. Okay, and don't look at lack of results. But not anymore. Like I told you, you are not those people. You are going to change this. You are listening to this. You are going to get into 2020 with a solid plan. God's going to help you do this. And we are going to look at what all the things you need to do to get your solid plan in place, so that you don't have to be one of those 56% anymore. The first thing is, you think differently about planning. We are going to start thinking differently about planning. And we're going to go back to our commitment statement, and we say that once again. Okay, like I told you, you are free to whisper it, but say it with me. I am not getting into 2020 without a plan and a strategy document. Thank you for saying that. Okay, let's look at three things. We're going to look at three things before we wrap this up. First is the knowing where you are, where you are as a ministry. So I'm going to very quickly give you a framework that can help you understand where you are right now. Because unless you know where you are, it's very difficult for you to know where you need to go. Okay, so I've got a little framework based on my years of experience in this industry and I'm going to give you the 5 stages of ministry based on 5 digital media goals. And these stages are, as I've written, it's completely based on your goals. So your goals will determine your stages. Now, when I say stages, I want to clarify a few things. I'm not saying you go from stage 1 to stage 5. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about steps. I'm talking about stages. So which means it's just a position that you're in, right? You may be in stage 1, I may be in stage 3, but that doesn't make you better than me or me better than you. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying these are 5 different types or stages or phases in which various ministries are. And why is it important for you to understand this? Because based on where you are, your social media and digital media strategy will change. That is why it's important. It's not a common thing. Not everybody has the same strategy. Sometimes when I talk to ministries, they want to compare. Please don't compare yourself with any other ministry. Okay, even if they're very close to you, they do the same thing, they reach the same type of audience. Guess what? God made each of us unique, right? You are not like them. They are not like you. They cannot do what you do. You cannot do what they do, right? So just do your thing. And that's more so in the digital space, because the same message, like the same content, can be delivered by this 2 different people in an extremely different fashion in the online space, not just in the stage, but also on the online space. So you can completely differentiate yourself. So let's go with the 5 stages of ministry. One stage is what I call the first circle stage, which is based on a goal that says, I want to reach my first circle of audience on social media. Now, this is the stage or a phase that ministries may be in even after years of being in ministry. Okay, even after years of being a nonprofit, an organization, you can still be in the first circle when it comes to digital and social media. Because I know many organizations that have hundreds of thousands of followers, but on the real world, but on social media they haven't done anything big. So they have a small following. So those are what I call as the first stage, first circle stage people. So they are the people who want to build the first circle of audience. Now it's important for you to build your first circle, because guess what? Your success on social media depends on this first circle. Because I'll give you a little bit of algorithmic reasoning behind that. Now the way social media works is this. You take a picture and you put it on your Facebook page, right? The first 10 minutes is crucial for the rest of the life of that post. Because in the first 10 minutes, if you have a few people liking it, few people commenting on it, the first few minutes, I'm not saying 10 as a hard number, but the first few minutes, if you have people engaging with that post, guess what? You are telling that social media channel, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or any other channel, you're telling them this is a good post, somebody likes it, I've got somebody who's liking it and engaging it. Therefore, you need to show it to more people. Does that make sense? It's like a common sense, right? We've got, like, if suppose you had an office and you had 15 people coming and giving you 15 different photographs, telling you to show it to more people, which one would you choose? The one that the crowd is saying, hey, I like that one out of that 15, I like number 3. That is what you want to show to more people, right? Because that's what people like. And how do social media channels know what everybody likes? By the first few minutes of interaction. So therefore, you need to show people that you've created good content, the right content, and people need to know that they are in the first circle, so that they can help you. So as a ministry, we've got an unfair advantage here. Okay, how many businesses can say, I've got a set of people to whom I can go to every week and ask for help? Not many of them. But you, as a church or ministry, if you're especially as a church, you do have a following. So for example, if you're a church, I would say when you post something, ask your audience to comment, share, and like it in the first few minutes. You can ask them. They're your church audience, and they actually would love to do that, right? Why would they not, if you create good content? So that's some of the kind of strategies you will follow for your stage 1. And once they do that, guess what? All their friends are going to see it. More people are going to see it. And that is how organic reach can grow for your ministry. So if you're in that stage, my friend, you will have to approach it differently. I'm not going to give you all the ways. I don't have the time today, all the ways in which you can grow that. But usually I use this as a framework to let ministries know where they are. And then we kind of take it from there, because each one has a different path. Number 2, local influence. After building your first circle, you may be in a stage where you're building local influence. You may be a church or a ministry that's reaching a particular area or a particular group of people. That's your goal number 2. If you're in this stage, then you will approach social media very differently. You will target only a particular place. Now, the thing with social media is you can target as niche as you want. You can say, I know people who are reaching 18 to 25-year-olds in like one part of the city. You can even say, I want to reach people from 20 to 30 years old within 4 streets around my church. You can absolutely do that. I mean, why would you reach anywhere else? Because people are not going to drive that far. You want to reach your neighborhood, right? And there's no better tool than social media and digital media to do that. You can absolutely target it. Even your YouTube videos, you can say, I want it to be shown only in this place. You can say, tell Facebook, take this content, show to Instagram users in the next 4 blocks around my church. So things like that. So local influence, you will have a separate strategy. Number 3 stage is global impact. So after having a local influence, you can move to a global impact goal, which is saying, I'm a good local church, or a ministry or a nonprofit. Now I want to go global. Now there, your strategy and your approach to social media will be very different. So you will think about languages, you'll think about cultures, you'll think about you're changing your design and so on. So that takes you to a very different mindset. The 4th is ends of the earth goal, which is, there are some ministries that I know, and I have the real privilege of working with, where they want to reach people really at the ends of the earth, the places where they haven't heard the gospel, or places where people need help. They need to be served in some way. People without water, without food, and things like that. Or even it may not be even poverty, but poverty in a different level, like in terms of knowledge. People don't know something. They may not be economically poor, but they don't have the knowledge to make their life better. And maybe there may be a nonprofit who want to reach that. So that is what we call as the ends of the earth goal, where you are trying to reach a particular audience who are not very easy and common to reach. So social media, again, is a great tool to do that, because you can find almost every kind of people there. Like I told you, 48% of the entire world's population is on social media. And guess what? About 18-19% are children. So they anyway don't qualify, right? Below 13 years. So you're talking about like a big chunk of adult population being there on social media. So you can find all kinds of audience there. Number 5, the 5th type of ministry, or 5th stage of ministry that you may be in, is what I call special missions. Missions like reaching just one type of people. Like you may say, I want to reach out to just these, elderly population in this particular area who are wanting this kind of ministry, or people who are addicted to a certain habit, right? Which is destroying their life, destroying their marriages, destroying their mind. So I want to reach out to people only dealing with that problem. So I call that special missions. Now that may be a global audience, but going through a specific problem. You get what I mean? So that is called special mission. So these are like 5, I'm not saying this is everything, but these are like broadly the 5 types of ministries that I have seen and worked with in the last 10 years. And so you may be falling into any of these categories. Just in terms of approach, if you're in the first circle, even if you have an established ministry, your approach will be like a startup. So you would think like a startup, you will approach it like a startup. So you would want to build more brand awareness campaigns, that type of high level, what we call as top of the funnel kind of campaigns. Whereas the rest of it, you can have a scale and expand kind of an approach, because you already have something and you're just working on it. So, but other than that, each of them have a very unique approach. Okay, so think about that. Think about where you are and get started with that. Okay, your approach to planning will vary based on your goal and stage, and your usage of the checklist that I'm going to give you, the downloadable checklist, will vary based on your goal and your stage. Now, you may choose to use some of the points out of the 15. You may choose to neglect some of them. That's perfectly fine. Okay, just use something that's based on your goal and your stage. All right, the first action point. You remember we talked about 3 action points that I'm going to give you, and we committed to working on them. Here's the first action point. Discuss and decide the stage of your ministry based on your goal, specific to 2020. Now, this is important, my friend, because many times when I talk to leaders, it's like, they go on a big vision that God gave them, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. This is what I want to do. Change the world, reach the ends of the earth. Well, perfect. That's all good. That is true. God does give us enormous goals, because he's a big God that we serve. But I want you to be specific to 2020. Okay, I know it's difficult for some of us, but we need to do that, including me. That's why I have my wife. When I plan, she's like trying to bring me from that luminary mode to the real execution mode. So she'll be like, okay, Natchi, focus, 2020. Okay, don't tell me about changing the world. Let's talk about who we are going to change in 2020. So that's what you need. Okay, and you need somebody like that to sit and talk to you. So do that. Discuss and decide the stage of your ministry based on your goals, specific to 2020. That's action number 1. Okay, now we are going to the part 2. Part 2 is essential questions for social media planning. See, there are some things in social media planning that are optional. Those are the things we're going to talk about in the 3rd section. But there are 4 things which are absolutely essential. Now, without these 4, you cannot move on in social media. So that's why I call them the essential questions. So these are 4 questions that any ministry, any business for that matter, any organization, even an individual needs to answer if social media is going to work for them. So here are the 4 things that you need to answer before you start planning. In fact, this is part of your planning. First is why. The core. I call this the core. It's part of my book's communication model that I have in my book. First is core, which says, what is your purpose and goal? Why are you doing this? Okay, and I'm not talking about, again, your purpose and goal for your ministry, reaching the world for God, and preaching, doing the Great Commission, that kind of thing. Even though that will be at the core of everything, because all of us have that one Great Commission as the central calling. But very specific to 2020, very specific to the kind of ministry and the stages we talked about. Remember, now for that stage, what is going to be your goal and purpose? Because this will be the driving force behind all the activity of 2020. Like, for example, in my plan, I might have, conduct workshops like this, because I'm getting some comments, and thank you. One of them said, love this, in the comment section. Thank you so much. And we're getting fantastic comments from people who are attending this, and I love it. And this is my thing. So I may say, okay, this is useful for people. I've seen that. Therefore, in 2020, I'm going to run more workshops like this in different topics. Now, that could be my goal. And what is my purpose? To equip my audience with this kind of knowledge that will help them to grow the ministry, or something like that. So just to give you an example. So answer this question before you move on. You all know about strategy. There's a lot of resources. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, because this can be an entire day's webinar. So I'm not going to do that, but you get what I'm saying, right? Why? What is the purpose or goal for 2020? That's the key. Okay. And then community. Who are you planning to serve? Content. What message will you say or share that will help your audience, that will add value to your audience? Okay. And then the 4th is the channel. How are you going to reach the audience? These are basically the 4 questions that you need to answer before you even move into your, detailed planning, because these are like the foundations. These are like the pillars. Okay. Community. You need to be clear about the community. You need to be clear about the content and the channel. Let me give you a few expert tips for each of the 2, 3, and 4. Like I said, 1, I know you got it. So I'm going to go into a little bit of tips for 2, 3, and 4. Community tips in terms of audience. How do you need to think through this? First, I would recommend you talk to your existing audience. Okay, this is a pro tip. Now, many times ministries come to me and say, Natchi, I don't even know who I'm reaching in social media, because it can be confusing, because everybody's using social media. All types of people are using for all types of things. And so who is my audience? Well, talk to your existing audience. Even if you have 2 existing audience, 10 existing audience, like there's a group of people like church members or whoever you have access to, talk to them and ask them, hey, I want to do this on social media. I'm getting online. We're getting our ministry online, our organization online. I'm getting myself online as an individual. If you're just an individual wanting to get on social media. So you would say, who do you think I should reach out to on social media? And guess what? Many times I have seen you will get incredible insights from your existing audience, because they know you, they've been with you, they understand your message, they know how you add value, and they can give you some incredible input. So talk to your existing audience, right? Do a survey or something, and then get to the details. Like, think about your ideal audience. Like, what are they doing right now? Like, if they're young people, what are they doing? Are they watching videos? Are they sharing messages? And what are they doing, right? And what are they thinking? Like, go into their head and try to think like them, and kind of get an understanding of how they think and how they spend time. It's important for you to understand that. So like I said, you can run surveys, you can try to answer these questions in multiple ways, or you can do online research. And if you can't do any of that, just go with some kind of assumptions, and you can do course correction on the way. So don't get too worried about getting everything right as you start. Just get started. It's okay, but try to answer these questions as much as you can, right? Getting clarity on the community is crucial, because that will determine your next step, which is your content. Because if you don't know who you are talking to, then you wouldn't know what you're going to say, right? Like today, I know exactly who you are. I mean, I don't know who you are, but I know like the profile that I'm trying to reach. I know the people that I'm trying to help, like leaders like you, people who have vision like you, people who are driven like you, people who have thirst for knowledge like you. So these are the people I'm trying to reach. Therefore, I know when I design this content, I know this is how I need to go, because I only have a few minutes, right? We almost ran through 40 minutes. Can you believe that? We've been doing this for 40 minutes. Anyway, so we've got only a few more minutes. And in that few minutes, I need to convey something. And when I design this, if I don't know who you are, how would I design this content, right? So that is why working on that community piece for you is super important. So spend a lot of time working on that community piece, and then get to content. Now, the content piece, I have a few tips for you. First is decide on the type of content. The type of content could be video. Now, there are basically 3 types. It's video, it's images, what we call as visual content, and there is audio. Okay. And these are in terms of moving and seeing kind of a thing. And then you've got the written content. So basically, in a broad way, it is 4, but you get what I'm saying. So visual is video, and images will be visual content. There is written content, and then there is audio content. So those are the 3 big types, and you can decide which works for you. And it's okay. One works for you, one doesn't work for you. That's perfectly fine. Just pick and choose something that works for you. And especially if you're starting out, just choose one. Okay, and see which type of content you like and you're comfortable with. It's very important for you to do that, what you like and you're comfortable with. Like if you're not comfortable with video, then try audio, try written. And then there are ways to do videos, because the second big point is not what you like, but what your audience like. Now, this is the success factor on social media. It's not just about what you like, it's about what your audience like. Now, if your audience like video, and if you don't like video, guess what? We still need video. So, and you need to find ways to do that. You can get creative. Like I told you, you don't have to be on video. You can hire somebody to create a video, or you can create videos with text. You can just create videos with images. You can just create videos with images with your audio on it, like I'm doing now. You're not seeing me, but you are hearing me. But I'm also happy to do videos, but just for this purpose, I thought it would be less distracting, you not seeing my handsome face. So I'm keeping it just audio and visuals, but you can do things like that. So it's just a matter of how you want to project it, but it's also important that you do what your audience like. That's the key tip I want to give you. So choose just 1 or 2 formats. Like I told you, don't overwhelm yourself. Test, and test. Try video, try audio, try written, see what works, and see what your audience like. It's going to take a little bit of time, but experiment with it. Okay, even if you're an established organization, I would recommend that you still experiment with new types of content and see what works. Channel. A quick few tips on channel before we go to the last part of the session. In terms of channel, this is how you need to think. Now you've got your audience in place, you know who you're reaching, you've got the content in place where you're saying, okay, this is the type of content I'm going to put out there. And now how am I going to do this, right? What is the medium that I'm going to use? Now, here is my big advice and input for you. I mean, this is a big suggestion, is choose a few. In fact, I'm going to challenge you. You can choose just one for 2020, just one. Like you can say, I'm going to focus only on YouTube, right? That I would say is an excellent decision. In fact, for very established ministries, I have given this advice and I have told them, look, don't have to do everything. Just focus on one. When I say focus on one, I'm saying you will put all your energy into that. And guess what? Every channel, almost all the big channels, have a very solid following. So if you choose that, and if you think that is where your audience is spending time, you remember, we go back to the community tips. We said, think about where people are spending time. So that is how you will make that one decision, not because you like it. You would make the decision based on where your audience spend time. So if you say at least 60-70% of my audience are spending time on Facebook, then that is where you will spend your time. If they're on Instagram, that is where you will spend your time. If they're on TikTok, that is where you will spend your time. So anyway, so you will choose the channel based on that. And because this tip can be crucial for you, because we only have 12 months in 2020 and you don't want to be all over the place. This is something that has really troubled ministries for a long time. I mean, they try to do too much and they're all over the place. So you don't want to get into that. Try to focus, because once you focus, you can master it. Suppose you're doing YouTube, you can master it by saying, what should be the duration? How should I put the thumbnail? How should I give the description? What are the tags I need to add? How do I promote on YouTube? How does YouTube work? How does my channel look? What are the playlists? All those things related only to YouTube. So that way you become a master, and then you can slowly, then guess what you can do? Once you put something on YouTube, you can still take the video and post it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all those places. But see, like Instagram, earlier you couldn't post a wide video, but now you can. IGTV allows you to post a wide video just like YouTube. So you go ahead and use the same content. But what you are not doing is you're not spending a lot of time in all those channels. You're spending all your energy on YouTube. So that way you are clear, your time is spent well, and it works really well for you, right? Optimize your content based on the channel and invest time learning about the platform, because each platform is unique. I just finished one of my courses about setup, and it's incredible how each platform is so unique. We talked about 11 different channels and how to set up and all that. So as I finished the recording for my course, I just looked at it and I said, wow, I mean, like this stuff could get complicated if you go in. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed, my friend. So please choose one and master it, optimize your content for it, invest time learning about it. All right. Okay. That's your channel tip. Now, the action point. You remember we told you about 3 action points. First is, I told you, discuss and decide your stage of your ministry. Remember that, right? You're going to do that. And after you do that, second action point is answer these 4 key questions. Like I told you, these are essential. You cannot skip them. You have to answer all these 4 if you're going to be successful on social media. So answer these 4 questions and write them down in a document. That will be your action point number 2. And now we go to the third step. And here is a quick review or a recap of those 4 things that are essential. I added one more slide so that we can make sure that you don't miss it, because these are essential. Why, who, what, and the how. All right. Now, if you have really pressing questions, you can ask now, but I'm going to answer them only at the end. We've got, after we finish our 1-hour session, we'll stop for some questions if you have some. So think about some questions, write them down. You can ask now or you can ask later, but we will do the Q&A at the end. All right. Just wanted to give you that piece so that you can get your mind to rest, saying, yes, I can ask my questions later. Okay. And now we go to the final part of our workshop, which is a checklist for social media planning. So like I told you, I am giving you a downloadable document at the end of this session. So basically, after I finish this session, you will be taken to a page where you will have the option to download the 15-page document, and you will also be sent, that document will also be sent to you along with the replay of this session. So don't worry about it. But I want to pick a few things from that checklist and I want to run it through. Now, the 4 essential ones that we talked about is also part of that checklist, but I want to pick a few other elements and kind of give you quick tips so that you get an expert input into a few things. Okay. I want to pick number 4, which is auditing your online presence. Okay. One of the things that we talk about in this document what is auditing your online presence? Now, social media is not a standalone thing. Okay, social media works very tightly with your website, your mobile app, or whatever else you got going in the online world. Okay, some of us I know who do have a website. If you don't have it, that's fine. But if you have, then audit your presence and make sure, excuse me, make sure that your website or social media is very tightly integrated with social media. Okay, online presence audit. Some tips that I want to give you is ask the right questions. Like, for example, how is my website structured? How is my website working with my social media funnel? So I've got all these questions given in the checklist, so I'm not going to go through that, but I want you to check it out. And connect all the assets with social media. Like I told you, don't make it work solo. Like, your website should not have one type of colors and your social media posts another. I mean, that should not look disconnected, if you know what I mean. Like, people should have the same experience. Even though there are two things different for you, those two things are different for you. Even though two departments handle it within your ministry, departments are different. But for people, it's not different, right? They see all of this as one. They're consuming all of this in the same place. So make them all look similar and give importance to mobile user experience. So that's some of my tips with respect to online assets. And number 6 is about tools. Oh, I am a tools guy. Like, even this webinar that you're consuming is from a tool that I love, and it's very simple, and I love how it makes it easier for all my attendees, and we've had fantastic reviews. So we've got many tools that we use for webinar, but this is one of my favorites. And if you want more details about the tools, I've got a series of them listed, and you can also go visit natchi.net/tools, which will take you to my website, where I've listed a lot of tools that you can look through. So please select the right tools. I would highly recommend that you have a good tool in your hand, because a workman is as good as his tools. So do not take tools for granted, because tools can make your life easy. It can help you avoid overwhelm. It can make things simple. It just, once you set them up nicely, then you don't have to worry at all. Number 7 is budgets. Big one. Now I know I've got all your attention. Tell me about budgets, Natchi. All right, 2020 budgets. So there are 3 things in digital and social media that you need to think about when you think of budgets. Okay, first is, I would say, set a budget for planning. There you go. Now, please, planning is important. So like I told you, if you have a large team, take them out, set a day or two aside. Don't worry about all the other stuff. You can always come back to it. Spend a little bit of resources on planning, because like I told you, if you don't have a proper plan, you're wasting ad budgets and other budgets as well. And talk about ad budget is the next big thing you need to be thinking about. And I'm telling you, the reach of online, regular reach without spending advertisement money is over. Okay, it's over. It's categorically over. And of course, you can still reach people organically, because if you got a church, you got a captive audience. Some people will still like and share your content and so on, but it's not going to be big. I know pages, Facebook, especially Facebook, where there are hundreds of thousands of followers, but they hardly get like 100 likes, 20, 200 likes, people sharing it and things like that. Nothing happens. You know why? Simply because it's getting crowded. People are busy. They're having so many things to look at. Even though they are your church members, they have 100 other stories that they need to look at. And they're all from their cousins and brothers and sisters. You think Facebook will give preference to your church content over the content posted by my sister or my brother? I don't think so. You get what I'm saying? There was a time when my sister or brother was not on Facebook. And that was the time when all of us were getting good organic reach, but not anymore. So I wouldn't blame it entirely on them. I would blame it on the growth of social media. And this is reality, my friend. So we've got to deal with this. No social media can really come and help us on this, because the rate at which social media usage is growing, there's going to be more people coming in. And as more people come in, guess what? There's going to be less space for your content in that little newsfeed that all of us have, and the little time that all of us have to consume news on social media. So the best way to reach your people is going to be advertising. That is why you need to think of ad budgets. So if you can, I'm not saying all of us should, but if you can, please allocate an ad budget for 2020. Think through it. I've got an entire article about how to allocate budget. You can check that out. And you can also think through a budget for your content. Okay, like video production or images or whatever else you choose to do. Like even writing, it's not just writing. It's about thinking about the content, about the title, about the description, about the way you structure the content, having something attractive at the top, having a call to action at the bottom, and all those things within your content. And it's good for you to hire a professional person to go through that if you can, or invest in a course or something where you can learn more about it. So you need to have a budget for your content. So these are the top 3 pieces that I would like you to allocate budget. Of course, the rest of it, operational, software and all those type of things. But these are like tips I wanted to give you in terms of do not miss these budget pieces. Allocate a budget for advertising. And if you're starting out, here is my advice. Make it small. Like just, you can even start, like in some countries, you can start with $1. That's the minimum ad budget. So you can set 100, 500, 200, whatever you're comfortable with, and see how it works, right? Experiment a little bit with small budgets and see how it works when it comes to ads. So I just want to give that extra input to you. And then the next thing I want to talk about is video marketing. Okay, video is big. It's going to be bigger in the years to come. And please focus on videos. Like I told you, even if you don't like videos, get somebody to do videos. But if you like videos, please do more of them, because people are going to consume more videos in the days to come. Video converts better than any other medium on social media, any other type of media on social media. So, okay, so you can do live videos if you're comfortable with that, because live videos get algorithmic preference. Okay, I say that again. Live videos get algorithmic preference. So if you're a ministry with any kind of a teaching session on Sunday or any other day, if you're not a church, or if you're just a teaching ministry, if you have other sessions, I highly recommend you go live. Just put your phone in front of you, get a good tripod and or some kind of stand, and just go live. And you've got, I've got a little device with me today, which actually follows me. Okay, like it's a little a tripod kind of a thing where I put my phone and I touch my face on it, and then I record. And then even if I move around the stage, guess what? I don't need a cameraman. It actually follows me on my phone. So it's a very cool thing, and it doesn't cost much at all. It's like, so if you want something like that, send me a message on social media, and I will tell you what those tools are, and you can get something like that, as simple as that. Okay, so but include live videos if you can. If you're a speaker or if you're someone with live content, great to include live videos, and also recorded videos also work. So video marketing plan is essential. And messenger marketing plan, messenger marketing, I tell you what, this is going to be the next big thing. I call it private media. Okay, we've been talking about social media. The year of private media is coming. Look at this, October 2019. This is the list of the top social media platforms in the world with respect to active users. And Facebook, YouTube, and guess what? The next 3 are WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, WeChat. But you said, oh, Natchi, but I thought those are just chat apps. Guess what? They're not just chat apps. They are actually social platforms. Okay, here you see Hootsuite and Via Social. This particular people have categorized that as a social platform because it is social, right? You can, on WhatsApp, you can connect with people, you can be on groups, you can share stuff, you can do everything pretty much what you do on other social networks, but it's also private and people like that, right? So more people are going to be getting on the private media platform in the years to come. So you might want to have a strategy for that. Okay, some of you are asking me to send details about the tool. Definitely, I'm going to send it to you. Leave your comments if you want more, anything specific, and we'll make sure you get that. All right. So number 12 is a measurement plan. What you don't measure, you cannot manage, right? So have an analytic plan. The reason I included this is you will not believe how many ministries are out there which do not have analytics, or even if they have analytics, they don't look at it at all. Like, I asked them, how many times do you review social media? They're like, maybe once a month, and sometimes even skip it. You know why? Because it's not a big thing for ministries. But I tell you, it is a big thing. It's going to become a big thing in the days to come. So have your review meetings regularly. Do not ignore it. And what to measure, there is a list I've given in the downloadable format. Just look at that and you'll know what all the pieces that you need to measure. All right. And one more thing I want to bring to your notice is SEO. Don't take SEO for granted, because search engine is actually bigger than social media. Okay, people look for your ministry or your name on Google. That is still happening. It happened 10 years ago. It's happening today, and it's even bigger today. Okay, so search engines actually refer more people to your website or something that you want them to come to than social media. That's what has happened. Earlier, about 3-4 years ago, it was the other way around. Social media was referring more people to websites, but now there's a trend where search engine is actually referring more people, because more people prefer to search on Google and search engines than on social media. So social media is becoming more like a catalog where you consume information, whereas search engine is becoming a place where it gives you answers. So I've got a series of articles on SEO. If you want to understand, they are all free on my blog. So just go to nachilazarus.com/SEO. You will find them from the beginner stage to the stage up. Okay, establishing your partnerships is crucial. Don't do everything yourself. You can get on webinars with people. You can get on live programs with other ministries. You can do podcast interviews, because some of us we don't know what to say by ourselves, right? But if you have another person, it becomes easy to create content, because they are talking, you're talking, there is this interesting conversation going on, and makes it interesting even from an audience perspective. So I highly recommend you think of collaboration in 2020 as you're planning for 2020, various ways in which you can collaborate. You can even do co-branded advertising campaigns, like with two ministries coming together, you can promote each other's stuff to each other's audience. That way you will grow your audience. And we as a body of Christ, we need to work together. Come on, people. I mean, we need to be as one body, helping each other out. So cross promotions, co-branding, collaborations, those are the things that you need to do. All right. So before I go to the last point of this conference, this workshop, here is, I want to stop for a minute. I want to thank you, because we've just crossed 1 hour. Can you believe that? We've just crossed 1 hour of workshop. I thank you for being here. I sincerely thank you for spending your time. So many of you, I really, really appreciate it. And I hope I've been able to add value. You know, every time I get on something like this, I think, oh my goodness, I hope I make it useful for people. So I thank you for that. We're going to wrap up very soon in a few minutes. So we're at the last point of the workshop, and then we'll have some time for questions. So number one is most important step. I call it the most important step. Prepare your roadmap document. Okay, this is the number one. Like I've been saying, this whole thing is about your document. So what is this whole roadmap document business that Natchi is going on and on about? Well, you remember our declaration? We said, I'm not getting into 2020 without a plan and strategy document. Now, the reason I'm hopping on the document is because, like I told you, it is a reference map. Because as you get going on social media is very resource intensive. Okay, once you get doing, only then you will know. Like, it's not just taking a picture and posting. Like, if you want to do it something good in a good way, very intentional, then you'll have to design it, you will have to resize it. If you have to like write a title, you have to write a description, you have to put a link, you have to put a hashtag. There's just so many things. There's so many elements for one social media post. So what happens is, as you do more of these, initially you may be excited and get started, but as you do more of this, on the way, you might lose your way. You know, and it happens in most of the times. That is why I am going on and on about this document. Now, this will be like a map. So even if you lose your way, you've got a map that can bring you back, right? So that is what I call as a road map. And include all the above elements and whatever I spoke to you about, and have it on an online document. That's what I would suggest, because it's a Google Doc. If it's a Google Doc or an online document, you can invite other people. It can be collaborative, so people can edit it and all that, and have it as a work in progress document. Please, invest time in creating something like this, and make sure that you have that. If you need any extra help, I am available. If you want, I've done this with ministries. I work with them. I do even consulting, helping them to create this document. If you're an organization that needs extra help, then reach out to me. We've got a consulting package and a planning that could help you create a strategy document, execution plan, content calendar, and all that stuff. Or if you want to book like hours of calls with me, I'm also available for that. We've got a few slots left for the year. So if you want to do that, then I'm happy to help you as well. My email is natchi@natchilazarus.com, and I'm available as Natchi Lazarus in almost all social media channels. Feel free to reach out to me. I mean, just questions or guidance or whatever you need. I'm already receiving some incredible appreciation from all of you in the chat. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Means a lot to me that you like this. I want to wrap up with just recapping the 3 action points. Okay, number 1, discuss and decide the stage of your ministry based on your goals. Number 2, write down the answers to the 4 key questions that we talked about. Remember, the core, the community, the content, and the channel. and then download this 15-point checklist that I'm going to give you and use it in your planning meeting. So if you do all of these three, then you're well on your way to creating a good social media plan for your ministry. All right. So we've got some questions, but because of time, what we're going to do is we're going to collect these questions and we're going to make sure we answer them to, we send those answers to you. We've got all your information. We will see if there are any urgent questions that are being asked. Well, okay. So guess what? There are many common points that some of you have asked. So I'm going to send them to you. And in fact, some of you have specifically requested that I send you those answers. Like most of you have asked for tools. Most of you have asked specific questions about your specific situation. So I'm going to send those details to you. Okay. So we will do that, and we make sure that you get those answers. And if you also think of some other question, right? And if you want answers to those, then feel free to send it out to me. Okay, send an email or reach out to me. Please, I'm going to ask you to do this for me. Can you please share this with your friends? Because I know there are many ministries out there who think they know what they're doing and they move forward, but sometimes they get stuck and they come back. So I think this 1 hour is going to be useful for them. Don't you think so? If you do, please share this with them. It's very easy. We've got all this in one page, natchi.net/2020. You can post it on social media. You can send it to people on WhatsApp. You can send it to your friends as a text message and say, hey, why don't you check this out? Because we've got a series every week. We've got this going. And just like you, I share this with many other people. So if people can register for it, and it's free. So please tell your friends, help us to spread the word, because we want the body of Christ to enter 2020 completely prepared. So need your help to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Check your email for your download link. And like I told you, right after you finish this now, you're going to be taken to a page where you can download it. Or if you want to move on, you're busy, you're watching this on your phone, you don't have the time, that's perfectly fine. You can also check your email later, where you will have the download link and the recording. Maybe in a day or two, you should receive that. And then you can download it at leisure. So don't worry about it. And I want your feedback. So if you want to give me feedback, please send me an email. If you want to send a word of appreciation, which I can display to everyone, saying, hey, this workshop was useful. Natchi does help people, kind of a thing, because sometimes it's really those references and those testimonials that get people going. So please email me those appreciation, or even if you don't have an appreciation, you want me to change something, you want me to give feedback. In fact, I'm more interested in that. If you want to give me inputs on how I can make this better, please send them to me. I'm very, very interested in hearing that as well. Okay, thank you so much. And say that I'm not getting into 2020 without a plan and strategy document. I truly hope that 2020 is going to be a fantastic year for you. God bless you. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. I just pray and I bless that you will have a fantastic year. You will have a year filled with God's presence, guidance, wisdom. God will hold your hands as you go through 2020, and He will lead you to greater places. And He will especially help you use this digital and social media incredible opportunity to touch so many lives. You've got a story that people need to hear, and I pray that God will really help you to do that, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate you once again, and I will see you around in the internet world. Reach out to me if you need any help. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye-bye.